Good morning, everybody, from a rather snowy Galashiels this morning. We had a bit of snow yesterday. It's quite nice. Nothing that caused too much problems traffic-wise, but makes all the hills look particularly bonny this time of year. I'd like you to bear with me, humour me for a few moments now. I'd like you to pretend that you're a guilter. Now, please, don't take it too seriously. Don't start hurling obscenities and abuse at every sensible, level-headed and fair-minded person. I don't mean to go that far. But as I say, let's pretend that you're an ultimate guilter. What do I mean by an ultimate guilter? You are the staunchest type of guilter that there is. The type that basically took an oath saying, "I solemnly swear that I believe everything Ken Kratz and the state presented in securing the convictions of Steve and Brendan." That type of guilter. There's not many of them around. As I say, I do know one particularly well, Sheriff Robert Herman. He has steadfastly stuck to his claim that everything that was done was in the investigation was done by thoroughly professional law enforcement officers. He is a good example of an ultimate guilter. Ken Kratz himself, of course, is not an ultimate guilter because, in his summing up, he wanted the key and the bullet to be set aside. No, he is the next level down from ultimate guilter. They are the sort who basically they don't believe absolutely everything that Ken Kratz presented, but they would say that the end justified the means. That although the story wasn't correct, that the securing of the conviction of Steve and Brendan was a good thing because they were clearly the ones that committed the terrible murder. As I say, they believe that Ken Kratz got things wrong. As I say, Ken Kratz himself is the next level down from ultimate guilter. Another one that we could put at that level would be Tom Fassbender, because of course he's not sure what Brendan actually did. He's not sure that Brendan did all the things that himself and Mark Wiegert got him to say. He's not sure about that. He is not an ultimate guilty. He, as I say, is the next level down. As I say, this level of guilty accepts that Ken Kratz's sweaty story is false, quite simply because, of course, there is zero evidence that Teresa Holbrook lost her life either in Stephen Avery's caravan or his garage. There is nothing, no evidence at all. The only thing that suddenly appeared was the bullet 4 months later. That did not go through any part of anybody's body. It simply landed was fired into a piece of wood that was painted. But here's the problem for this next level below ultimate guilter, and that is by accepting that Ken Kratz didn't get the story right, he was wrong. You must now accept that at the very least, Steve and Brendan deserve a retrial, that the evidence needs to be retested. Now, it won't actually cost the state a penny to do the retesting, because Kathleen Zellner is going to foot the bill for that. So you do have to ask the question, why are the state so protective of the RAV4 that they don't want it tested? What are they trying to hide? That's going to be an interesting development at some point in the future when Kathleen Zellner does get hold, or her experts get hold of that vehicle and does a thorough a proper investigation of the stories that vehicle will reveal and tell. The next level down in guilters are those that believe that Brendan is innocent, but not Stephen Avery. Now, the recent video by Kathleen Zellner about the blood, if you read the actual article, well, let's put it this way. I'm not completely sure about Kathleen Zellner's assertion that the real killer planted the blood inside the RAV4. Whoever did do it, though, they didn't do a very good job, because they forgot to, or maybe they ran out of enough blood to put on the steering wheel, on the gear stick, the door handles, both inside and outside, the hood latches, both inside and outside, or anywhere on the paintwork or on the bonnet itself or inside the engine bay. They only had enough to plant a few drops here and there. And whoever did the planting of the bones has made a right pig's ear of that, because the one thing it doesn't do is suggest that the bones were genuinely burnt in the bonfire. Not enough heat, and as I say, when you've got when you've got the coroner banned from coming and doing her job, and you've got zero photographic evidence of the bones, no grid imposed. This was the biggest murder case in Manitrot history. So what happened to all the photographs? Why? Well, I suspect that the answer is quite simple, that they were told not to take any photographs of the pile of bones that were allegedly found in the burn pit, because it would have completely busted the case against Steve. As I say, they made a complete pig's ear of planting the bones by accidentally leaving some in another burn barrel and leaving one, on another road. Wonder how that got there. Did it just fall off or something? Of course, when it comes to making a pig's ear of planting evidence, the key and the bullet that were planted by Manitrot County Sheriff's officers, that is the most pathetic and laughable effort that anybody has ever seen. I say, it's even accepted by Ken Kratz in his summing up, to set it aside. Okay, so there are lies, there are damn lies, and statistics. However, statistically, the obvious suspect is, of course, Ryan, because it's something like over 95% of the time, nearly 100% of the time, that it is a loved one or an ex-lover or somebody that's involved with somebody that do these homicides, particularly amongst the sort of the white community. But, however, the fact that Bobby's testimony, this testimony that he saw Teresa head towards Stephen's trailer, and that later the car was still there and no sign of Teresa Holback. Well, that testimony given on the witness stand has since been busted. So you have to ask the question, is he, and possibly Mr. Taddick, Scott Taddick, are they involved? Well, I think absolutely. Just by giving that false testimony, that's definitely being involved in the framing of Stephen, isn't it? To give that testimony, that made a huge impact in the case, and possibly they were the ones that planted the blood and the bones. To me, it does look very likely. So basically, being a guilter is not an easy task, because every single part of the case against Stephen and Brendan is being pulled apart. Till next time, bye for now.